Hey guys, another short video here for you. Going to cover another topic of the game that doesn't really get talked about a whole lot, and that's the capital. Surprisingly, not everybody really understands the capital buffs, what's in the capital shop, the capital vault, the Hall of Fame kind of thing, and just, everything to really do with the capital. So here I have pulled up my kingdom's capital, which is currently controlled by the Alliance or Thronecraft. And we are their leader is Southboy, who's a pretty cool dude. They've actually got a website dedicated to helping you guys out, so just a little shout out to that. Pretty cool stuff. Just to kind of go over this first, we'll just kind of go over it in order here. So the titles. So first you have your kind of your positive titles, ones that give buffs and stuff to people, which can be given out by the king. So here you have the King's buff, which is applied to whoever is the alliance leader of the alliance that takes over the capital. You get that troop attack plus 20, defense and HP also plus 20%. Really, really good buff to have. You have Consul, which is just a little bit weaker as far as attack and defense goes, but it does get that positive plus 15 to march speed. So pretty good for just kind of your all-around kind of attacker. More for like solos, because that is not rally march speed. You have to keep that in mind. Then you have your tactician, which is that troop attack, troop defense, plus 10%. I would usually recommend putting that on somebody who's either a really, really good solo attacker or somebody who's a really good defender, in my opinion. Then you have your Royal Guard captain, which is that plus 15% defense. Again, you'd want to put that on somebody that's most likely more of a trap, in my opinion. Then you have a patrol captain, which has that plus 5% troop defense and the resource production plus 5%. So somebody who's really economically focused. Then you have your treasurer, which is that silver production rate plus 20%. So that would be somebody that has like all silver mines. You would want to give this to them. And they would have that really, really nice silver production rate. Then High Scholar, which has that research plus 15% buff that you would give to somebody who's maybe currently getting ready to do a bunch of high-level researches, so that they can get that done a little bit cheaper. Supreme Justice, which has the construction speed buff. Again, just like the High Scholar, you'd want to give that to somebody who's doing a lot of high-level construction speeds, constructions. Then you have Proctor, who has the resource production rate, so somebody who is economically focused, so somebody who has like all the key resources minus food, and you'd want to give that to them so that they can get quite a lot of resources. Then you have you start getting into your like middle ground, which has like one positive but some negative. So kind of like your, I guess you could call them your kind of like troll titles, in my opinion. So you have like Thief, where you'd give them like a bunch of food production just to, mess with them. Then you'd have the negative, the debuff, silver production rate, and troop training speed. You'd want to put that on somebody who's obviously getting ready to train a lot of troops, or so probably somebody that you had just like zeroed out and you know is going to be spending a lot of time trying to rebuild their troop count. Same thing with Swindlers, same thing, except it's just a little bit weaker on the food production rate. Again, the food production rate is more of kind of a troll than anything, in my opinion. Robber, you'd want to give that to somebody who's maybe perhaps getting ready to do a lot of like high tier buildings. You get their silver production rate down, you get their construction speed down, so that it's going to take them a little bit longer to get those buildings done. Outlaw, it's kind of the same kind of thing. You want to send this to somebody who's maybe doing a lot of attacks, make it so that it takes them longer to go to those attacks because of that troop march reduction speed. So that's minus 15%. You also have their food gathering speed increase, which is minus 15%. So that's just if they want to gather food on a food tile, it takes them a little longer. Then you have the chambermaid, which is probably my favorite debuff, as that is a debuff that you would put on somebody that you're either getting ready to zero out, or somebody that's rallying you, that kind of thing, that you want to make sure that their troops are doing the least amount of damage possible to your alliance or to your allies, etc. Spy is kind of the same way, except it's a minus 10% for their defense, so you'd want to put that on maybe somebody extra that maybe is getting ready to attack you guys, your guys, and you want to put that on them just so that they can have a little bit of a debuff if you have the chambermaid already on somebody else. As it does take, I think it's a day for each title, or a couple days for each title to get reset so you can put on somebody else, if I remember right. So then you have the peon, which has the enemy troop defense debuff and also decreased resource production rate. This is what you would want to put on somebody that you really don't want to have a really good resource production rate, so that means that they're not producing very much resources, but they can still gather resources at a decent rate, so it's kind of a catch-22 in my opinion. It's more for the troop defense debuff. Fool is another one where you have the troop attack, troop defense debuff. You get that production rate down and that training speed down, so that's something that, in my opinion, you would put on somebody that has a ton of troops. You're zeroing them out, but you know that they're going to be on before you can really finish it, and you want to make sure that they don't have the this same kind of speed to train those troops back. And that's what I would use that title for. So hopefully that helps you guys kind of understand those titles and what I would personally do with them. Let's move on to the capital shop. So the capital shop basically takes the royal funds, which basically are gathered by the members in the kingdom when you do certain events and things. Some funds are added to the royal funds for the capital, which then can be used on kingdom buffs, such as the 10% kingdom research boost, which for 5 minutes, and the kingdom research boost for 60 minutes, each having their own cost. And all members of the kingdom can actually put a vote out. So like you'll click vote and see it says 57, and then I want to vote for that, so 8. So now that the person that holds the capital, if they want to look at what people want in the kingdom, they'll see, hey, people in the kingdom want this buff, I'll get this buff for them. Moving on to the capital vault, which is new-ish. It was with the last big update, not today's update, which I will probably talk in a separate video or separate stream actually. With this, you have the invasion teleports. You get 24 teleports every capital war cycle. You give those to whoever you want to have in the alliance that holds the capital, that you want to have go and invade another kingdom. Kind of like a KVK server versus server kind of thing, but it's more of like a small raid, as you can only have 24. So that's almost half of an alliance, whereas during your KVK or server, it can be your whole alliance, could be your whole kingdom, etc. that moves over and starts invading. So that's what the capital vault is, and it can only be given out to the alliance members of the alliance that is holding that capital. Now onto the Hall of Fame. This is basically where you can see all the past capital holders in the kingdom's history. Since this kingdom was merged, you don't see any of the previous owners of the capital before the merge. You only see what happened after the merge. So as you can see, Southboy has been the holder of the capital ever since, and we've actually got a capital war today in about 12 minutes, so you'll see that go on as well. And I think that just about covers it. If you guys have any questions about the capital and how it works and how to better utilize titles, maybe you want me to explain a little bit more in depth the titles, let me know in the comments down below. And as always, thanks for watching. See you guys in the next video. Bye bye.